Hello everyone, welcome to Evercars. Today's video is a clip from our full Kia EV9 review, which is linked up there, and this is just going to focus on our 10 to 80% charging test on a V4 Supercharger. This is one of the very few V4 Superchargers in the whole country, and we're going to test the 800 volt Kia EV9 on it to see just how quickly it will actually charge. Let's dive in. And now it's time to talk about charging, and I'm very excited because we are at the first V4 Supercharger here in Redwood City to see how well the 2026 EV9 performs in a real-world charging test. The Kia EV9 GT line comes with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery, and roughly 96 of those kilowatt-hours are usable. The EV9's battery has a peak charge rate of 240 kilowatts, but it's important to remember that with Kia EVs and Hyundai products, they tend to have really good charging curves. Therefore, the manufacturer quote on the 10 to 80% charge time is 24 minutes, and I just plugged in at 9%, started the timer at 10%, and we will see how long it truly takes this car to charge from 10 to 80. Thankfully, there's not a lot of other people here, and I preconditioned the battery pack on the way over to ensure we are getting some pretty good results. The important thing with fast charging your Kia EV9, or frankly any EV with an 800 volt battery architecture at a Tesla Supercharger, is that you really need to use V4 Superchargers to get optimal performance. You see, the vast majority of superchargers are V3s, and the issue with them is that they can only supply 480 volts. Now, the battery pack on an EV9 is 800 volts. That's a lot higher than what the Supercharger can provide. Therefore, to charge your 800 volt EV at a V3 Supercharger, you're gonna need some onboard equipment to step up the voltage to match the battery pack. Now, the issue with this is that you're literally limited by your onboard equipment, heat, and a bunch of other factors, so you really can't get great charging times. In fact, charging a Kia EV9 on a V3 Supercharger, you would only get a peak charging rate of 126 kilowatts. That's nowhere near what this battery pack can actually accept. Still, that 126 number isn't terrible when you consider that a Lucid Air can only do 50 kilowatt boost charging, and the older Kia EV6s top out at around 100. The good news is Tesla is rolling out its V4 Superchargers across the nation, and Iona's new charging network, which primarily consists of NACS connectors, is all 1000 volts. So hopefully within the near future, this shouldn't really be a big issue. But nevertheless, if you are road tripping and you're planning on stopping for a while for lunch or something like that, then boost charging at a supercharger shouldn't pose any issue because you're still pulling 126 kilowatts. In terms of real world range, the EV9 is rated at 280 miles, which is a pretty solid number. It's not quite as good as the Ioniq 9 or Model X Rivian R1S with the larger max battery pack, but it's a pretty good number. Based on my driving, I estimate that 280 is pretty realistic. Out of spec studios tested around 265 miles in a 2024 EV9, but this one has a slightly higher EPA range. That could be due to testing cycle differences and stuff like that. But nevertheless, you should at least get 260 miles in this one. Before we reveal the 10 to 80% charging time, we do have V2L on all Kia EV9s regardless of trim, and basically this means you can offload up to 1.9 kilowatts to another source. Another source could include another vehicle, so you can level 1 charge another EV from your EV9, but this car's battery pack can basically act as a generator for offloading some power, and that's a really cool feature to have. All right, numbers are in. We just went from 10 to 80%, and you would not believe this, 23 minutes and 59 seconds, right under Kia's claim of 24 minutes. This is honestly one of the best charging sessions I have seen in a really long time. Thank you for watching today's charging test. If you'd like to see more of our content, it will appear at the end screen.